Hey, before we get into this episode, just a couple of messages from our sponsor, which is me. If you're a musician, an artist, a dancer, or someone in our gig economy, if you work in marketing, management, an agent, anything else, and you're like what we're talking about here and you'd like to come on and have a chat, please email me at aussielocallandlive@gmail.com and we'll organise to get you on. Secondly, if you're watching this, please subscribe now on the YouTube channel. Subscribe so we can let you know when more episodes come along, and please let your friends know about it. Finally, the last thing, if you do like what's going on and you'd like to really help, please put your camera on that QR code. It will take you to a tip jar on my website. All the money comes 100% to the show, and every bit helps. So anyway, enjoy this episode. If you can, email me, subscribe, or help out with a tip jar situation. Really appreciate it. Have a good day and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to Aussie Local and Live. We are again, and today I'm talking with a fellow venue warrior, a man who's out there in the gutters with me weekly basis, doing what we do, plying our trade and hopefully entertaining a lot of people. This is Blake Durant, also known always as Bam. Most people will know him around the place, and soloist, band artist, and all-around good guy. So, mate, nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on board.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick.
Mate, just I guess people who don't know you, will give us the brief rundown on your story, mate.
So I've been a musician basically all my life. Started when I was about 6. I've been performing since I was 17. Professionally performing anyway since I was 17. Was in the trenches in the original scene here in Brisbane. And then as I decided to make this a full-time venture for myself, it made sense to move to covers because that's where the mortgages can be best paid in my situation. So
exactly, yeah, same here, mate.
So did that for a while in various different bands, did a lot of the clubhouses and so forth.
So did you do music through school those years? Were you playing then?
Yep. Played at school. Had an extracurricular tuition as well.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
I went to COC in Mansfield.
Okay. Yep.
And then
so a South Side boy.
Yeah. Always a Logan boy from before it was Logan. Yeah. No, I grew up in Shallow Park when Shallow Park was still a dirt road. And then
mate, she's grown down that way now these days. Isn't it a different story now? Logan's a major city these days, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And
mate, been a great breeding ground
in Shallow Park too. So,
a great breeding ground for music too. I mean, the Savage Garden boys, they were all down that way, I believe.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, their parents are my godparents. So
oh, really?
I grew up next door to Daniel Jones. Yeah.
Daniel, yeah. So you know Oliver?
Yes, desensitised. Yeah. He was Brisbane Queensland Muso of the Year like 3 years in a row. So
yep. No, it's a great story those boys had. Of course, Oliver's Daniel's brother, but that the whole Logan area has been a breeding ground for whether it's been football or music or whatever things. It's been a great area of growth. So, mate, when you said you started off in the original scene, what were you doing there? What type of stuff were you playing?
We were like most young guys. We were playing metal. So we had like a slight twist on it. We were sort of metal-y glam rock. We had a piano player on stage with us, so it was just a little bit left of centre from the metal scene.
Yep. I was talking recently to a guy, Benno Rogers, out of the metal scene, and we were talking about how people don't understand just how skillful a lot of players are in that metal scene and how much you actually learn your craft. Like, it's probably one of the most technical fields of rock music to be playing in.
Yeah, there's no room for slop in metal, so it's very precise. Every hit has to fall together, especially when you're working with more than one person on the same instrument. There's no room for error at all.
Yeah, virtuosity is something that goes across the whole thing. I mean, from the vocalists to, you look at the drummers too in metal stuff, it's just amazing. And a lot of people see it and just see the energy and the noise, and people don't get it. but you
Yeah.
get down to the basics, and if you come up that as a breeding ground, you obviously had some good training behind you, mate.
Yeah, the right hand does its thing quite well, so that
Yeah.
translated really nicely across to the acoustic for me.
Yep.
When I eventually ended up on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying too. I had the same story with the gigs, going out and doing the cover gigs being my day job most of the time. And
Yeah,
I've had 7 albums out of my own. I always push my original stuff. I've been overseas doing my original stuff, but I could never work out what other type of job to do. And I was lucky. I
yeah,
was lucky when I went through school. I came out, and I think for 6 months had a job studying as a real estate cadet valuer, and I couldn't see myself doing that. And I just got back in those days, in the 80s and 90s, we were in the touring scene straight away and doing the touring band thing all the time. And
yeah,
you're working 5, 7 nights a week, and fortunately back then you could do that.
yeah,
Obviously you get to the late 80s, 2000, things change, and it made more sense to be doing the solo work rather than the band work, because the band work, it just wasn't, you couldn't make an income out of that, whereas the solo work you could.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I moved to solo enjoy work in about 2015, roughly.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I was in the original scene, sort of early 2000s. Um, and yeah, by then it was a very different game to what it was in the 80s, to talk to all the guys who were in the original scene in the 80s.
Yeah. No, mate,
Yeah,
most people who see us play, they really don't know what a muso's life is about. Working muso's life is about. And I guess some people think you kind of get to put your feet up 5 days a week, and 2 or 3 days you actually go out and work, but they don't realise what goes on the rest of the week. Like,
yeah.
how would you explain what your life as a working muso is? Like, what are the practicalities?
It's more than a full-time job. So, look, I get up every day and I start, and whatever the day's jobs that need to be done, whether it's creating flyers, booking gigs. So for me, I'm looking at gigs in 6 to 12 months' time. Is there an available date there? Got to make sure those are full now, because if I get a few weeks out, then there's a strong possibility that they won't be filled, but in that short period. You're planning your weekend ahead. If you're working with more than just yourself on the weekend, you've got to keep those guys all organised. Finances, insurances, everything's got to be kept up to date.
I imagine you do a lot of your own marketing too.
I do all my own marketing, yeah.
So what's that involved? What do you use? What platforms, and how do you go about it?
Ooh, sorry, just give me 2 seconds. My curtain. Oh, actually, it doesn't look terrible.
That's
My
all right,
curtain just fell down.
Mate, you
So,
still look like a beautiful man, mate. You're all good. So.
Yeah. I've always been told I look better in the dark.
We all get that one.
No. Yeah, so look, for me, I create my own flyers completely. So I will every week go through. I've got a combination of different images that I use from gig to gig, different backgrounds. So I use Photoshop, and yeah, extract the image from its background and then create my own background.
Mate, for people who are just starting out doing it and getting their heads around it, it's a pretty crazy field these days as far as social media and everything goes. It's like there's a tsunami of stuff that comes out all the time, and getting your voice heard is pretty difficult. So if someone coming through, what advice would you have for how they should approach their marketing? Because I mean, it's one of the things that I think, for the tough times our industry has, we can kind of bitch about it, but we also have to be more proactive in getting bums on seats. We have to be more
Yeah.
proactive and being responsible for creating income for venues so they can pay us more, or pay us more regularly. And that means us promoting ourselves better. So, mate, someone doing it, would you have any advice for people who are trying to figure it out?
Yeah, look, there's so many mud maps already there online. You can literally look at what other people are doing that is working and copy it. It's right there. There's no new amazing way to market as such. Every sort of marketing avenue has been done over the. You can go back to TV ads, radio ads, all that sort of stuff. There's no right or wrong way to do it either. You do what you're most comfortable with, and if you're not seeing results from it, try something else. So, if you do this every week and nothing else changes, then maybe change how you're approaching your marketing.
Be prepared to be flexible in what you're doing.
Yeah, but basically you've just got to, I mean, as a muso, the hardest thing to do, especially as solos and duos, is to market yourself, because you've basically got to go, look at me, look at me. But you need to do that to,
and do you find,
make people aware of you.
Do you do many ads, or is it mainly generic marketing you're doing? What's the main thing you get results from?
As in, like, paid ads?
So, yeah, social media ads, yeah, like Facebook or
Yes.
Instagram ads.
Yeah, so I predominantly sit in the Facebook and Instagram as my main forms of marketing. So obviously everyone's got a phone, everyone's on their phone. For my particular demographic, they're predominantly on Facebook, so I stay there in Facebook. If I was looking to target, say, like a 12 to 18-year-old who aren't going to be able to come to my shows anyway, I would be on TikTok, on Twitch, but my audience is 18 to 50, so they're on Facebook, and they're in other places as well, of course. And Facebook seems to be that one you can break outside of. So.
Yeah. Do you spend on ads, or is it generic marketing, like organic type? Not
organic, I've done a few experiments. It's funny you say this, because this is a big thing. I was hired externally from a company to look at their marketing as well. I find that and my mud map is there online. All you have to do is look at it on Facebook, and you'll see how I'm going about my marketing. I actually have a better response, or a better hit rate, from doing it myself than by sponsoring it. I can target the audience I'm after better than I can by paid. And that's tenfold. So paid advertisement, I was reaching anywhere from 2,000 to sort of 10,000 on a $30 a week spend. I can do 10 times that by myself, by just organically moving outside of my own page, sharing into groups. And then, that's, so I just went, look, it's if you're starting out, fair enough, sponsor it. But if not, if once you're in there for a while, learn how the algorithm works and break outside yourself.
And do you find groups in general are pretty supportive of you coming into their group and
look, it's the internet, so you'll catch a lot of hate. You'll catch some love as well, which is great. The way I look at any negative is, if someone decides to have a go at me because they've seen my ad, I've reached them, and I managed to put my poster in their face. So I'm successfully marketing. If they didn't want to see it, then that's up to them. They can hit mute. So I actually look at it positive anytime someone reaches out and says, I'm sick of seeing your ads. I'm like, well, you can hit the hide button, mate. It's but I've reached them, so it's a successful market.
I've got a little show I do called the 70s Unplugged Show, and I've been promoting some of that recently and putting ads out. And I had one guy comment on one of my posts today that he said, and mine's a ticketed show. It's something I do. It's special. It's got different things on the TV screens. It's very interactive and all that stuff. This guy just comes on, his only comment was, well, I play all those type of songs for free anyway each weekend. I'm like, yeah, good on you, mate. But, you're out there promoting yourself, doing it work properly and all that. So you got to let those little things slide off your back like a duck, mate. So marketing's a big thing for, especially doing solo and duo, that social media marketing. But before you get to that, you've got to know how to do a gig. And I guess for people coming through and wondering how it all works a bit, when you put your set list together or the songs you play, are you just going by what the people want to hear, or is it a mixture of stuff that excites you? Or how do you construct your from a song perspective, how do you construct what you put together or what you perform?
Yeah, obviously for covers, it's you've got to be very versatile. it's with the band, we have quite a focused genre that we attack. Obviously, with the acoustic solo and duo, you've got to be a lot more flexible. When it comes
just so people know, you've got the BAM solo, BAM duo, BAM trio,
BAM trio,
and the
yeah,
Jabba
which
band.
are
So
all three of the BAM ones are acoustic based,
yeah,
and the Jabba band is a full rock band, full hardcore rock band.
yeah. So do you have similar songs that flow across them all, or do you have different songs you do?
I try to have different song lists between them. Obviously, BAM solo can have all three BAM duo, BAM trio stuff. It just keeps it a bit more interesting for me. So when I'm booked as BAM solo, I have certain songs that I play as BAM solo. BAM duo has songs that we play in BAM duo that I don't play in BAM solo, and same with BAM trio. What that does, it just keeps it a little bit more fresh for me as well. So I'm not playing the same, because quite often I'll be doing 2 gigs a day. So you're singing for 8 hours, and if you're singing the same songs twice in that 8 hours, it can get old pretty quick. So
yeah, I think it's good to, like, I know myself, you know, hundreds of songs up my sleeve, and I never really work off a set list. I kind of just, when this is solo, you could do it different with a band or a trio, whatever. But by myself, I really go with the vibe of where the audience is going. And I guess if there's one thing I can say to anyone who's getting out there and figuring out what songs to play, is to really try and get enough songs up your sleeve that you can cover that thing. If the crowd's going a direction and you know that's going to work with them and draw them in, because every song is a bridge of communication. Whether you, even with original songs, you know, if you're the Rolling Stones and you go out there and played all new material, it would be a real struggle with their audience, because people know their cover songs, they know their hit songs, the songs they're familiar with. Now, we're solo artists going out there, I play quite a few of my own songs during my set, but I use the cover songs as a bridge of communication to build a relationship with the audience. And some nights that might be something they're just happy to sit back and I can do something that I consider to be of quality and nice and interesting. And other nights I'm yelling at them, screaming at them as we all sort of have a drunken party together. It depends on where that vibe's going. You have to have that flexibility. And I imagine yourself, you'd have so many songs up your sleeve that you do the same thing. You take the night where it needs to go.
Yeah. So we don't run set lists. We call it as we see it on the night. I look at people's feet a lot.
Me too.
And as soon as I see them tapping, I'm like, okay, well, this is the vibe that those people that I see tapping are chasing. So we'll go down that rabbit hole for a while.
That's a good point, particularly if you're doing a solo gig and there's like TVs everywhere and the people are talking and everything else. You're not getting a reaction from the people. Watch their feet. And if you see their feet just starting to move along, you know, well, this is connecting. It's going to take some time and a bit of a journey here. And I've got my hands tied behind my back a bit because there's all these other distractions. But the feet are a dead giveaway, Matt. It's a really good point.
No, so that's my indicator that I'm hitting the right mark at the time. And you just chase that down and get down that rabbit hole, and you usually get them by the end. So.
I mean, just as we're talking about, you know, things that make a basic gig that some people might be interested in, I also think a lot of musicians forget that the time where they're having a break between sets is actually really important communication and marketing time as well. To not just sort of go off and hide away from everybody, but actually get out there and talk to people and, you know, let them know that you're a human too that wants to actually communicate with them, I find can go a long way to getting them involved in your next set.
Correct. And I got the added bonus that I was a smoker, a vapor now, but that seems to be the most social area in any venue is the smoking area. So I'm right out and amongst it straight away.
I've been off in 12 years, but you're right. You'd go to the smoking area, and as crazy as that was, the thing that you had when they first brought that in, and they put a line on the floor, and you had to be on one side or the other smoking. Was just the most stupid thing ever, because like you're breathing it and it's going everywhere, but you had to be on that side of the line. It was crazy, but it was a very social point to be. And but I find going around to chat to people, people are often more interested and open to talk to you and willing to know. And they often they won't clap in a gig like that because they're just a bit self-conscious until you break that ice and they feel more comfortable. It doesn't. I know these are basic things for you because you're doing it all the time, but I think they're important things to have a chat about, just so people know that how you do a little gig is all about. You know, as we say, that's for a lot of people. If you're working a job that you hate doing, if you can actually make your money playing songs in a venue doing what you love doing, and that helps you develop your original stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. You're not going up to not waking up to go to work each day. You're waking up to do your passion. And I think when you're saying it is more than a 40-hour job, because pretty much you normally, or I think you'll be like me, where you're normally going to bed and you're waking up thinking about what you need to create to do today to advance your career, to advance what you're doing. So you never stop creating or working on what you need to create.
Yeah. And maintaining the level. Obviously, there's hours of practice that goes into to maintaining the performance level that you've reached. So,
and then, mate, then you get to have some fun moments. So I was just going to show here. You were kind enough. I recorded a couple of songs with a mate of mine called Tuffy, and we got to record a couple of film clips with those. And one of them was out on this beautiful boat out in the Moreton Bay. And you came and did the film clip with us, mate. And I'm just going to play you a bit on that, if that's all right. Well,
yeah, she was windy.
I haven't got the volume up. I didn't put music on there. I didn't know what the copyright thing was. There you are, mate. Wailing away on the guitar.
Yeah, no, fun day.
It was fun.
I vaguely remember you vomiting off the side of the boat on the way.
It was actually.
Or was it the way back? Or?
No, it was early in the day. I hadn't eaten, and we were going out in the boat, and I'd had I think just like clear up my sinuses. I'd had like just a cold and flu tablet, and then I had early on I had a sip of beer. It just didn't sit well. So it wasn't so much the boat; it was the fact I hadn't eaten. I didn't prepare well at all. But I
it was good for the fishing anyway. It helped everyone on their fishing.
I gave you guys a good laugh. Come on. You had something to pick on me about. That was good.
Yeah, it didn't stop you though.
No, of course not.
You got straight back out there and had fun. So yeah,
mate, I remember going back in would have been probably early 90s, and I had my band Nicky Phillips and the Corporation back then, and we often did New Year's Eve. We'd do the Triple M New Year's Eve nights. Yeah. And I remember one night I played at Her Majesty's Bar, and it had been storming, raining. It was so humid. But I did that in a chock room. We went up to the Crest and did the Triple M event, and Rusty and the Airs Rockettes were playing in one room. He had my band in the other room, and it was just so hot, and I was just dehydrated. And I got to the point towards the end of the show where I'd do a song and I'd have to run off and throw up, and then go back out, do another song, run off and throw up. And I had numerous gigs like that where you do it, but we were just so silly, and you always got by. You did it, and if you couldn't finish a gig, you're a wimp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A lot of fun, but it was great in those days too, because you're playing so much in front of every type of audience that you learnt your craft. I think that's one of the challenging things for artists these days coming through, is they rehearse a lot, they know a lot of the technical side, but they often don't get enough opportunities to just get out there and perform in front of people.
Yes, obviously, and that's got a lot to do with how younger people are coming through and they're consuming music differently.
Yeah,
they're not like it was back in my day and back in yours, where they were always out looking for live music. Now they just have it on their device, and that's how they consume it. So,
do you think that cycle will go around where they'll I personally, I mentioned my question. No, I'll get your opinion first. Do you think that cycle will go around and they will get back into looking for live music?
I think everything comes full circle. Everything has its time, and obviously the generation, the young musos that I mentor at the moment coming through, they come from a generation where the artists that they were idolizing were different to the artists that we would idolize as we were coming through, and that made us want to be musicians. So they were idolizing almost the solo artist, the looping artist, like your Ed Sheerans, and a little bit more focused than as a group. So you're seeing a lot more solo and duo type acts coming through than full bands. It's actually quite hard outside of the original scene. It's quite hard to find the young good electric cover bands now. You tend to find the young artists are good soloists and good duos. That being said, there are a few around. I'm mentoring a few different groups myself. So, I think that will change as well. So obviously they talk about the 30-year cycle and all that sort of thing. So, and that being said, there was still those sort of artists back then. We had our Neil Youngs and and Cat Stevens and all that sort of thing, which were a lot more. While they played with the band, they were still more of a solo artist than a band unit. You knew them, um, or the individual songwriter rather than the actual band as the songwriter.
Yep.
So I think I think we're pretty safe. That the music industry will come back around, and there'll be some amazing artist that comes along and takes that to a new level, and then everyone will aspire to get to that level as well. And you can see that through the history of music as well. You know, every generation has surpassed the generation before it, as far as their technical proficiency goes on their instruments. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like in 20 years' time. Yeah.
Well, I often get people say, "Oh, you know, we like the music from the '80s, '90s, all that because you know the songs were better and all that stuff." And that's not true. There were great songs coming out today, and there were crap songs coming out back then. It's just over time, the good songs are sustainable; they keep going, and so you forget about the bad ones. And back then, it was a bit easy because you would always hear your music either on like B105, Triple M, Countdown, or Rage, or there were limited ways to hear the music. So you got to hear the hit songs
A very
a lot.
focused point of view.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you got to know them. Now there's something like 10,000 songs a day being released on Spotify or something, and it's just a tsunami of songs come out. And sure, you get the occasional big label songs that do hang around, but you don't get to hear songs as much as you used to back then. You've got more coming at you, but you don't get to absorb them. And then you don't get to live with them in that same amount of time. 20 years from now, there will be songs from today that that will stand the test of time, and they'll say, "Oh, wasn't the music great in 2025, better than it was now?" Saying the same thing we say over and over again. So music will always be. There's good music out there, and in many ways, I think it's getting better and better. But finding it and getting that relationship with it is harder. The other side of that, of course, is there is more room these days for artists to take control of their own destiny and get their stuff out there. Whereas, back in the 80s, 90s, unless you were with Mushroom or you were with the right type of label, you weren't going to get anywhere.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So there is that there. But you're up against a lot more competition today as well. So I think the good side of it is that people are listening to more music than ever before. People still love music as much. The way that we make money out of music has definitely changed. Loss of CDs was a big one for me, the CD sales. We used to be able to, if you could sell 1,000, 1,500 CDs a year, that was, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 you could add to your income each year. When we lost that, streaming is just get nothing out of that now. So I think there are new models to emerge and be found, and we have to discover what they are. And the only way we're going to do that is by being like what you're doing with your marketing, exploring your own space, exploring what works, exploring what doesn't work, and create your own path ahead of you. And I think that's where a lot of times artists who are doing the local gigs, the local cover gigs, people don't realize the value in the grassroots work they are doing.
Yes, they could be tomorrow's star as well. Screaming Jets were a pub band when they started.
Mate, Keith Urban, Powderfinger, all of them, everyone. We all started in the pub scene back in our day up here, So, and the more fertile that grassroots area is, the better. So, what's your feeling about where our industry is going? Have you got hope, or do you sort of see it as a dark thing, or where are you sitting?
No, I'm quite interested to see where it all ends up. Like, obviously, there are challenges in this period at the moment with the economical situation in our potential audiences' lives. That can't stay like that forever. So all we've got to do is stay afloat and get out the other side of this period. But leading into the financial burden that was the last couple of years, and basically since COVID, really, the scene looked as healthy as I've ever seen it. There were more gigs than there were good artists. So basically, if you wanted a gig, you got one. It's a little bit different now, but I think we'll get back to there again where there's room for everyone to get in there and have a go. And that's a healthy music scene,
Yeah, I hope you're right. Mate, have you got anything particularly you'd like to be promoting or talking about, or anything coming up, or leave that for another chat, whatever you'd like to do?
Yeah, look, so I advertise weekly. At the beginning of every month, I put up where my products are going to be for that particular month.
And where do people go for that?
They can find me on Instagram and Facebook, either BAM Solo, BAM Duo, or Jabba Band. BAM Trio doesn't have its own page yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Put them up again there so people can see. Just search for them, and you shall find the man.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool, mate. I'm just got to do one little promo here that I wanted to just talk about, if that's okay, if you don't mind me. The sponsor
Yep.
for today is me. So, in light of that, people, if you could please, if you're watching this and you're interested in what we're doing with this little channel, please subscribe to it. That'd be good if we can do that, and just we can let you know what's going on. Do have a little tip jar thing going down here. If you do want to help out at all, just stop the stream or stop the video and get that on your phone, and you can do a digital tip jar thing there. And also down the bottom here, I've got to promote. I've got a 70 Unplugged show I do, which I'm really excited about. And I've got a show coming up on Saturday, the 23rd, at the Metropole Hotel at Ipswich. And you get tickets on that at OzTix. So just go to OzTix and search for 70s Unplugged show, and that will come up. So that's just a message from the sponsor.
Good, very good.
Yeah, mate, and this thing's going to be a slow grow, but I just want to get talking to people. And next week I've got like an artist coming on and some range. We're just going to have people from right across our gig industry, and there's so much to be information that can be shared. Like listen to you, mate, people like yourself, and what you do, in the real world of our gig industry. And I guess one last question I'll just ask you for anyone coming through. Do you get most gigs yourself, or do you work through agents?
Now I predominantly work through agents. When I was first starting out, obviously you've got to earn that position with an agent, where they trust you enough to fill up your calendar. So I would reach out and get my own gigs back then, and then sporadically the agent would give you some gigs, and as that success goes on, what that does do by using the agents, or not using, but by accepting agent gigs, is your calendar fills up without having to sacrifice as much of your time to fill your calendar.
And that's a good point you made about how first when you started you were doing your own thing, and I think a lot of artists coming through, they'll hear them bag agents because they're not getting the attention or they're not getting the gigs coming for the agent. You got to realize that it's about
you've got to earn that position. Yeah,
exactly. And if you go out getting your gigs and letting the agents know that you're performing at these places and getting them feedback, and they see your social media, they will build up trust in what you're doing if you're good for their business. Yeah. And that's the bottom line, whether it's for the venue, for anything else. If you playing your music helps the venue or sells tickets, sells drink and food, or gets an agent having a strong roster, you will get attention. So don't go bitching about, the agent's not giving me attention, whatever else. You've got to capture their attention, and you just do that through hard work. So
and you got to make sure your product's ready as well. Like you see a lot of products enter the art and enter the industry that they haven't done enough behind the scenes work yet. They're in a hurry, and I get it. We all want it to happen today, tomorrow, So, but make sure your product's ready. There's
good point.
If you get an agent gig and you go in and you fail, it is going to be so hard to get a second agent gig. So make sure your product's ready.
Exactly, and make sure too that you might be performing something up that is artistically brilliant, and that will work in the right room. But then don't be booking that into a party crowd on a Saturday night where they just want to hear the party music.
Exactly.
Because you'll be selling yourself short, and you'll be mismatching what you're doing, and it won't work for you. So think through all of those elements as well. Where will my music work best? How do I get into that? And then, how do I get that message to agents? So, yeah. Mate, is there anything else you want to cover off on?
Look, I think we'll probably have a chat in the future anyway and talk some more. But there's... I don't want to overload the conversation. I think
if we leave it at that, mate, and we'll come up with more things to talk about, because I do think sharing our, like, we got, thousands of gigs worth of experience between us that we can be talking people through, and we can go to all different levels of complexity in that. But hopefully
Yes.
today's given people a bit of an oversight into what goes on with the local gig scene. And
Yeah, exactly.
if I get you back on quite regularly, mate, and we talk about a few different things. So maybe we get a couple of other artists on with us. And we have a bit of a group chat about it and share our experiences and compare notes on what we do out there. And together, all of us try and work towards getting more people to venues, to our gigs, and get people enjoying themselves to music.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much for that.
No, thank you.
So check out BAM, either solo or duo, or
Yes.
the
Jabba Band.
Jabba Band, Jabba Band, and make sure you get out and see this man because he is awesome on stage. So you'll really enjoy yourself. That's all right.
Oh, actually, before we go, can I quickly, with most of these things, just quickly thank my endorsers? I'm endorsed by Elixir Strings, Wild Dog Stomp, Tech 21, National Music Australia, Jet Music International, and Tango and Picks. So I'd just like to mention them every time I make a conversation.
Maybe you've set a launch pad there for our next conversation. We can talk about how does a local artist work with sponsors? How does that come about? What do you need to do to get them? What do you deliver and go backwards and forwards? And actually, one of the things I like to explore in the future is how young artists coming through can actually partner with local businesses to, one, get business advice from them, and in return, maybe do events for that company, and maybe get sponsorship towards their album and things like that with local businesses. But I think there is a way for local businesses to work with artists and vice versa. So maybe that's something we could explore in the future chat.
Yeah, if they're willing to sponsor local sporting teams, what's wrong with sponsoring your local muso? So yeah.
Local muso, exactly. All right, buddy. Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. You have a great day.
Chat again soon. Thank you.
Cheers.